This week in DFW real estate, mortgage rates continue to drop to the lowest levels in a year. Zillow is in hot water as lawsuits pile up, and Dallas might outlaw Halloween decorations? I'm Jesse Showalter, and this is Jesse's weekly DFW real estate update for Monday, October 27th. Let's get into it. That correctly. City officials are debating new nuisance ordinances that could impact everything from noise complaints to over-the-top holidays displays. We'll get to that in a bit, but first, let's check what's rising, what's breaking ground, and what's being bought across North Texas. In Uptown, another crane is coming soon. The Dallas Morning News reports that the Dallas Proper Hotel and Residences will rise 34 stories at 2,500 Cedar Springs, with 200 hotel rooms and 80 residences. Construction is expected in 2026 with an opening in 2029. It's the latest sign that Uptown skyline is still reaching higher and that mixed-use luxury is here to stay. As reported by The Real Deal, the long-discussed Preston Center redevelopment is finally moving forward. The two-tower plan includes a 12-story office building and a 17-story residential tower with 147 units. Construction starts March 2026, wrapping up in 2028. This project's been in limbo for years, but it's another signal that Dallas infill is alive and well. Meanwhile, over in Uptown, investors are still doubling down, even with rents cooling a bit. Also from The Real Deal, Carlin Real Estate, based out of Los Angeles, just acquired The Brady, a 302-unit luxury rental property in Uptown. Yardi Matrix data shows DFW rents down about 1.5% year over year, with occupancy still around 92.6%. So while rent growth has eased, investor appetite clearly hasn't. Capital is still confident in Dallas's long game. And since we're talking Dallas neighborhoods making headlines, let's circle back to that Halloween conversation. Candy's Dirt ran a piece this week highlighting how Dallas city leaders are considering new nuisance property ordinances. And yes, some residents worry their holiday decorations might be next. The article quotes officials exploring language that would crack down on excessive lighting, loud music, or obstructive yard displays. One council member even suggested the city might need a Grinch permit before Clark Griswold plugs in. Of course, the point isn't to cancel Halloween, it's about balancing festive fun with livable neighborhoods. But if your yard looks like a Spirit Halloween warehouse, maybe dim the lights a bit this year? All right, from spooky lights to financial ones, let's talk about mortgage rates, because buyers this week got some more good news. According to Mortgage News Daily, as of Friday, October 24th, when this video is recorded, the average 30-year fixed rate now sits around 6.19%, down slightly from 6.23% last week. The 15-year fixed is holding at about 5.76%, while FHA loans are averaging 5.95%, and VA loans are right around 5.97%. Those might look like tiny moves, but for buyers, even that small dip matters. That marks the fourth straight week of slight declines, putting rates at their lowest point in roughly a year. And while we're not popping champagne over a 0.04% drop, the direction matters. We're trending down, not up. Now, here's where it gets real. To show how a full percentage point difference affects payments, let's use a $400,000 home as our example. At a 7.19% rate with 20% down, your total payment is roughly $3,000 per month. Drop that rate by 1 point to 6.19%, and you're looking at about $2,800 a savings of around $200 every single month, or about $2,400 per year. Now, if you're putting down 5%, the savings jumped even more, from just under $3,800 at 7.19% to around $3,500 at 6.19%. That's close to $300 savings each month and over $3,000 a year. Over the life of a 30-year loan, that 1% difference can easily top $70,000 in total payments. Think about what you can do with that extra $2,000 to $3,000 in your pocket every year. So when people say the rates only dropped a little, that little bit adds up fast. Bottom line, we're finally seeing steady progress in the right direction. We're not back to the 3s or 4s, and probably won't be anytime soon or maybe ever. But every notch lower helps more buyers qualify and keeps the fall market alive. So if you've been waiting for a sign that conditions are improving, this might be it. Just remember, in real estate, waiting for the perfect rate often costs more than acting on a good one. All right, now let's zoom out from Dallas and talk about a national story that could reshape how we all search for homes: Zillow's mountain of lawsuits. As of late October 2025, there are 6 major legal battles involving Zillow, touching everything from antitrust to consumer protection. As a reminder, I'm a real estate agent and not an attorney, so all I'm going to do is present you with the facts and give my perspective of what these might mean for you. We'll start with the one that just wrapped up: Rex Real Estate versus Zillow. Rex was a discount brokerage that accused Zillow and the National Association of Realtors of teaming up to hide non-MLS listings. The fight was over Zillow's old 2-tab view, which separated MLS listings from everything else. And Rex said that buried their homes and killed their business. After 4 years, the courts didn't buy it. The Ninth Circuit sided with Zillow back in March, and just last week, the U.S. Supreme Court refused to hear the appeal, officially ending the case. Bottom line, Zillow didn't break the law by following NAR's no commingling rule. Ironically, that rule was repealed by NAR this summer, but the win still clears Zillow of wrongdoing. But while that door just closed, several new ones have swung wide open. The biggest active case is the one brought by the Federal Trade Commission and several state attorneys general, filed in late September. They're accusing Zillow of paying Redfin about $100 million to exit the rental advertising business, essentially saying, "We'll give you the bag, you give us the market." The FTC calls it a 9-year non-compete that wiped out one of Zillow's biggest rivals in the online rental space. New York's Attorney General called it a blatant monopoly play that raised marketing costs and killed consumer choice. If the government wins, remedies could include unwinding the deal or even forcing Zillow to spin off part of its rental ad operation. From antitrust to agents, the next one hits closer to how listings themselves get controlled. Compass, one of the nation's largest brokerages, filed suit in June claiming Zillow's new listing access policy, what agents call the private listing ban, is anti-competitive. Basically, Zillow allegedly requires that any listing appear on its platform within 1 business day of being marketed elsewhere. Compass argues that this policy forces agents to depend on Zillow's ecosystem and kills options like coming soon or exclusive listings. That case is still in early discovery, but if more brokerages join in, it could balloon into a bigger industry challenge. Then there's the billion-dollar heavyweight fight, CoStar Group versus Zillow. CoStar, the company behind Apartments.com and LoopNet, says Zillow stole more than 47,000 of its photos and proprietary data to beef up its own listings, even removing metadata that credited CoStar photographers. They're suing for over $1 billion in damages and alleging DMCA violations. This one's in federal court in DC, and if CoStar wins, it could redefine how listing photos and data are shared online, maybe even forcing platforms to pay for the data they currently get free. Next up, a class action suit filed in Washington state claims Zillow's Premier Agent and Flex programs mislead consumers. Plaintiffs say Zillow hides referral fees and gives preferential visibility to agents who pay them, all without clearly disclosing that those fees exist. The lawsuit cites RESPA, arguing these hidden kickbacks inflate costs and limit fair competition. Zillow's defense, they say it's advertising, not steering. The court will decide which it really is. So, what's really happening here? Collectively, these lawsuits aren't just about Zillow, they're about the plumbing of real estate data. The FTC case questions whether any one platform should dominate rental listings. The Compass case challenges how fast agents must feed listings to big portals. The CoStar suit tests who actually owns the digital assets, the photographer, the MLS, or the portal. And the class actions question whether consumers are being steered toward agents who pay rather than those who perform. Together, these cases could redraw the line between tech platform and brokerage. If Zillow ends up being viewed as more like a brokerage, taking referral fees, controlling exposure, managing leads, it might face a very different regulatory future. Here's my take. We're in the post-NAR lawsuit era, and it's changing everything. Once the NAR settlement broke the commission barrier and forced transparency in how agents get paid, it opened the floodgates for other challenges, especially around fairness and access. The NAR case targeted how agents earn money. These Zillow cases target how attention and listings are distributed. And in real estate, attention is the new commission. So if you're an agent or a brokerage, expect regulators to keep asking, who really benefits from these platforms? The consumer or the company running the algorithm? In short, what used to be a fight over commissions is now a fight over clicks, listings, and visibility. And while that courtroom drama unfolds, back here in DFW, builders are taking a friendlier approach by offering incentives to attract buyers rather than lawsuits. Up in North Lake, Wildflower Ranch is blooming again, literally. The community features a lazy river, new amenity center, and builders like Beazer, Bloomfield, Highland, Toll Brothers, and Coventry. Bloomfield is offering up to $25,000 in design upgrades, plus select inventory discounts up to $100,000. Highland is running a 4.99% fixed rate mortgage special, and other builders are showing savings of $3,000 to $41,000 on quick move-ins. With rates still in the mid-sixes, these incentives can make a huge difference. And hey, floating down a lazy river beats floating through another week of rate uncertainty. And that brings us to this week's real estate tip. Fall and winter might sound like the slow season, but that's exactly why smart buyers move now. Sellers who are still on the market are serious. Builders are offering crazy incentives to get things off their books by the end of the year, and you face less competition. The deals don't vanish in the cold, they just get quieter. So between lawsuits, rate drops, new towers rising, and maybe a few Halloween lights too bright for City Hall, DFW real estate never fails to surprise. If you found this week's update helpful, don't forget to subscribe or follow for more local insights every week. Thinking about buying, selling, or just curious about your home's value? Reach out anytime. I'm here to help you navigate the Dallas-Fort Worth market. And I'd love your feedback. What topics, stats, or neighborhoods would you like to see covered in future updates? Drop your suggestions in the comments below or send me a message. Your input helps to shape these videos. Until next time, this is Jesse's weekly DFW real estate update, and I'll see you next week for another DFW market update.